Welcome back for another Music Theory Bite. In this video, I'm going to be talking about singing secondary dominant chords. If that's something you'd like to learn more about, then this is the video for you. Secondary dominants are fairly common chromatic chords that show up in tonal music. The problem is there are a lot of them. That means that there's a lot of theory that goes into singing a secondary dominant. So before you watch this video, make sure you check out my video on spelling secondary dominant chords. You're definitely going to need that in order to understand what I'm doing in this video. So if you're ready, let's get started. Like all structures in tonal music, we can use the Teapots method to figure out how to sing a secondary dominant chord. Teapot stands for theory. Know the theory behind the structure that you're going to sing. P stands for plan. T stands for tonic, know where tonic is, and then S stands for scale degrees. Sing the component scale degrees. Now first we have to know the theory, and for that we need to understand a little bit about secondary dominant chords. Like I said before, I cover this in a different video, the theory behind secondary dominant chords, but we can review some of the highlights of that. First of all, a secondary dominant is a chromatic chord. In most cases, it's a chord that uses chromatic tones. At least one chromatic tone, some of them use more. Second, it is a dominant sound. That is, it is a chord that has the sound of either a major triad or a dominant seventh chord. Third, it has an expected resolution to a triad that is either major or minor in the key. So when we create a secondary dominant chord, what we're doing is we're creating a chord that's acting as a dominant to one of the diatonic chords in the key. We can put secondary dominant chords in many places in the major scale. So we can put them on the 2 chord. We can replace the 2 chord with its secondary dominant partner, a 5 of 5, in which case what we do is we take the 5 chord in the key and we write a dominant sound to that 5 chord. We can replace the 6 chord with the secondary dominant, creating a 5 of 2. We can replace the 3 chord with the secondary dominant, creating a 5 of 6. We can replace the 7 chord with a secondary dominant, creating a 5 of 3. We can't replace the 4 chord with a secondary dominant because it would be resolving to a diminished triad, and we can't have secondary dominants leading to diminished triads. Finally, we can create a secondary dominant. We can replace the 1 chord with a secondary dominant, creating a 5 of 4. Now, in most of these cases, what we're doing is we are creating a new leading tone to the tonicized scale degree. That is, we're raising a tone to create a new leading tone to the scale degree that is the root of the chord that we're tonicizing. There's one exception to that, and I'll talk about that at the end. Now, when I have my students sing secondary dominant chords, I get to that by having them sing a circle of fifths progression with 7th chords. When we see secondary dominant chords, they're either replacing a chord in a circle of fifths type of situation, or we're seeing a diatonic chord which is replaced with its secondary dominant partner. So starting with the circle of fifths progression with 7th chords is a good way to start. Just to refresh your memory, that progression sounds like 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. The reason that progression is structured that way is the different chord members are always on the same beat of the metric unit. So I always have the third of the chord on the downbeat, and I always have the chord 7th on the 4th beat of each measure. That's a 4/4 type of pattern. Now, if I want to create a secondary dominant, what I need to do is I need to take the diatonic chord and I need to alter its quality by creating a new leading tone in most cases that will lead me to the diatonic chord which it's tonicizing. So for example, if I wanted to put a 5 of 5 in this progression, a 5 of 5 is the standard substitution for a 2 chord. So in my progression, I'm going to find the 2 chord, and I'm going to change that from a minor 7th chord to a dominant 7th chord. And the way that I do that is simply raising the third of the chord, creating a new leading tone to 5. What's a leading tone to 5? Well, what's a half step below scale degree 5? It's scale degree sharp 4. And it sounds like this. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5. Now here comes my 2 chord. 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice how I raise scale degree 4 to create a new leading tone to the tonicized scale degree, the root of the 5 chord. I can do the same thing if I want to create a secondary dominant to 2, that is a 5 of 2. 5 of 2 replaces the 6 chord. So again, I sing through my progression. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Since I'm tonicizing 2, the note that gets altered is a leading tone to 2, which is a sharp 1. Can I do a secondary dominant to 6, that is a 5 of 6? Well, first of all, I have to think about what is the secondary dominant, what is the tone that creates the secondary dominant. It's that leading tone. So I want to put a sharp 5 that's going to lead me to the 6 chord. 6 chord happens after the 3 chord in the circle of fifths progression. So I'm going to be replacing my 3 chord with a 5 of 6, changing that 3 chord into a dominant 7th sound by raising scale degree 5, the third of the chord, creating that new leading tone. Let's try it. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's back up another chord. Can I do a 5, 7 of 3? In this case, I'm taking the 7 chord and I'm putting a new leading tone that's going to lead me to 3. So I need a sharp 2 there. Now you notice that I'm starting with a half diminished 7th chord. If I just raise the third of the chord, I'm going to end up with something that's not really a standard 7th chord structure. That is, if I just raise 2, I'm going to end up with a major third, then a diminished third. So I also have to raise scale degree 4 in this case. Now, I don't really worry about that scale degree 4. Once I raise scale degree 2, scale degree 4 generally comes along for the ride. So let's try it. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. As I said earlier, I can't create a 5 of 7 because 7 is a diminished triad. We don't have secondary dominants tonicizing diminished triads, so that one I don't have to worry about. That leaves me with just one more possibility, which is a 5, 7 of 4, which replaces my 1 chord. Now, in order to do this, I need to change my 1 chord from a major 7th chord to a dominant 7th chord. In all the other cases, I have done this by raising the third, creating a new leading tone to the note that I'm tonicizing. Notice, however, I already have a half step between scale degree 3, the third of my 1 chord, and scale degree 4, the note that I'm tonicizing. I can't raise that anymore to create a half step. The half step's already there. So what I want to do instead is I want to change the chord from major 7th to dominant 7th by lowering the 7th of the chord. And this is the only secondary dominant in major that uses lowering chromaticism. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. And those are all of my possible secondary dominant chords. Now the question that usually arises at this point is, could I do multiple secondary dominants in the same progression? And the answer is yes. All we need to do is put the appropriate chromatic tones in the appropriate places in our circle of fifths progression. So let's say I wanted to do a 5 of 5, which remember is the secondary dominant that replaces the 2 chord, and I do that by putting a sharp 4 in that 2 chord, creating that dominant sound. And maybe I also want to do a 5 of 6, in which case I'm going to want to create a leading tone to 6 by raising scale degree 5. I simply find those places in my circle of fifths progression. The 5 of 5 replaces the 2, and the 5 of 6 replaces the 3. So I'll be listening for those specific places in my progression. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice again how I'm just sliding down from the tonicized note by a half step to create the chromatic alteration. We can get ridiculous with this and put in all the secondary dominants that could exist in the major mode. So I'm going to do a 5 of 4, a 5 of 3, a 5 of 6, a 5 of 2, a 5 of 5, and of course I can't do a 5 of 1, that's already a primary dominant. So let's see what happens. 3, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a lot of chromaticism in there, so you have to be really careful with those half steps and make sure they're shaded nice and high, as good leading tones are. Well, that does it for this video. If you found it helpful, please make sure you like it. Feel free to leave constructive comments below, and as always, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for the latest music theory bites as they become available. Until next time.